Okay, so for this build, I'm going to make it out of these rasps, most because once you hammer the all these teeth down, they kind of have like a fish scale look, and I think that might look really cool. So I'm going to take these ends here, I'm going to hammer them flat a little bit, and then forge weld them all together. I'm hammering them flat so the way the forge weld takes. This will stay. I'm gonna have to bend them out and then forge them all separately. So yeah, I don't really know quite what I'm doing. I've never forged anything even really similar to this before, so I'm just kind of winging it and seeing what happens. But yeah, this will be the process. Here I have the 3 rasps that I'm going together. I have the center one here. I use part of this for a knife, so that's where I cut shorter. I kind of narrowed up the edges here, and these, I kind of have it to where they're kind of, can't see it too well, they're kind of dished over to where they sit on top of that. I narrowed the edges to help with the forge weld, and then I went with a flat disc and kind of cleaned it up to help get a little more steel. I'm going to tack weld these together. I'm not going to film that because I really don't want to have my camera, which is actually just my cell phone, out while I'm using a welder. I've seen people do it, so I don't think it'd mess up anything, but I don't really want to run the risk either. So anyway, I'm going to tack that. I'm going to put in the forge, put some flux on it, forge weld all together. For flux, I'm just using borax. Seems to work, so I use it. It's cheap. Can't beat cheap. Well, let's get that started. So, that didn't work. The welds I had broke off, and the way I had everything set up, it didn't get hot enough to forge weld them, so I'm gonna have to try something a little different. I'm gonna straighten all these out. I'm gonna stack them all on top of each other, and then I'll just forge weld the end together. I didn't want to do that originally because it'd be a little harder to spread them out, so I had them kind of in a forked shape. I thought that'd be easier, but it didn't really matter if they don't forge weld. So I'm gonna kind of forge the teeth down a little bit so they stick, or so they lay a little flatter. Forge these to where they stick together so I can tack them. And then hopefully they will forge weld. Okay, so I got all 3 of them forged out the way I want them to. Again, I'm gonna flap this again and clean them up. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to tack them in place again, throw them back in the forge, and hopefully forge weld them together. The 3 of these forge welded together. I still have to, I'm gonna like spread these apart. But before I do that, I wanna put the cone shape to mount this on a handle. And for that, I'm just gonna use this old shovel. So this is what happens when you try to forge weld a shovel handle onto something. It gets super thin and tears. I mean, it forge welded pretty well. But, well, it tore. Man, this project's turning into a bunch of things that I end up messing up. Oh well. I guess I'm gonna end up having to take steel and make a cone out of it and forge weld that on. Alright, just a quick thing. I have the cone reforged. This is forged out of just a pretty thick chunk of steel that was given to me. I got it tack welded on here. I've made the mistake of not doing that with one of the shovel handles and it was a mess, so I just tack them on so I don't have to worry about it slipping or anything like that. I got both sides, get it heated up, forge weld it together so everything stays. so I have the sides of it kind of a little bit rough forging on it. I went ahead and ground this, the center spike or whatever you want to call it, down, because once you fold these up and get them going forward, it's going to be kind of hard to get a grinder in there and really, you know, grind that. So as you see, there's 3 prongs, and earlier there was 2 while forging. That's because this back one tore off while I was trying to hammer on everything. So I just went and welded everything together. I got pretty thin right here, so forge welding it would have been a pain, and I would have just made everything thinner. And this other one was kind of starting to get a little loose, so I decided to go ahead and just weld all of it. I also welded this seam. This is gonna be more of a display piece. I don't know if I mentioned it before. And this is gonna be kind of the back of it. So it's gonna be mounted on a wall, kind of like this. You're not gonna be able to see any of the welds. Or even the back seam. Although I will probably grind that down a little bit just so it's not there. I'll probably also cut this somewhere at now because it's pretty long and doesn't really need to be. So quick finish up on this. I added some temper colors to both the prongs, so you can kind of see in the light there, and this kind of tail piece. I want it to look like a orca tail, but it ended up looking more like a whale. But yeah, that's how it goes. But I made the handle. It's a shovel handle that I had to cut down a little bit. I put these grooves spiraling all down. You can kind of see them there. It's a ebony wood stain, which with hickory gives it a really nice wood grain look. So yeah, that about sums up me making a trident. It's been interesting.